his statement of the nation's address before the National Assembly on Thursday, President Barrow renewed his government's determinations to bring in a new constitution, announcing that he has already tasked the Ministry of Justice to prepare a draft. The country spent over $100 million to a draft new constitution following the fall of the former dictator Yahya Jammeh's regime, but it failed to come into existence after the majority of the lawmakers at the National Assembly voted against it. Mafuji Sise has the details in this report.
President Barrow, with the backing of the majority of the National Assembly members, managed to bury the draft constitution, which attracted the attention of both local and international attention, calling him to revive the draft constitution. This did not materialize despite 116 million taxpayers' money being dropped into the waste bin.
As the Constitution remains a top priority, my government is determined to oversee the crafting of a new Constitution for the Gambia. Therefore, the Ministry of Justice will resume work towards tabling a draft Constitution before this August Assembly. As part of its mandate, the Ministry will continue leading the review and harmonization of existing legislation with particular focus on laws that suppress freedoms and rights. For now, bills on criminal justice reform and mutual legal assistance are before this Assembly. I hope they will be dealt with eventually.
The tiny West African nation has been regarded as the smiling coast of Africa since its first republic under Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, with high regard for rule of law and respect for human rights regulations, but it turns into a cry coast with the former leader Yahya Jammeh accused of committing gross crimes against humanity. The third administration, under the leadership of President Barrow, reincarnated the rule of law and democracy and established the first ever Human Rights Commission, whose role is to watch the human rights situation of the country. President Barrow also pledged that his government will soon build the human rights quotas.
Mr. Speaker, with 3 years of existence, the NHRC proved to be fully compliant with the Paris Principles. As a result, the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions granted it A status. To the credit of government and the Commission, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights also granted it affiliated status. Thus, it can share submission with them on human rights issues within the country. We will support its attainment of first-class accreditation status. The Ministry is committed to the construction of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights headquarters as part of government's contribution towards hosting the Secretariat. Its purpose is to transform the Gambia into the capital of human rights promotion.
Rights bodies such as African Center for Human and People's Rights and African Human Rights Studies. Gambian and international human rights defenders had firmly stood against Jammeh's leadership, which eventually led to the citizens' decision to vote him out in the December 2016 election, which forced him into exile in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Mafuji Sise, Eyeafrica News.